Brakthia Howell, Brakthia Shai, Brakthia Howell, Brakthia Shai, Brakthia Howell, Brakthia Howell, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim, for Kalkudash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there. You Akim to Sadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity on the pre-Shaman. This week's topic is going to be entitled how, World War III tensions can lead directly to the RFID microchip. What you would call like a snowball effect. It's still a working title, but the premise is, it's a snowball effect of these war tensions that could lead right into the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip. The inspiration for the show comes from the fact that RT released what we've been saying. Brothers already did live lessons on it, that Israel was behind the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, right? Due to the fact that Iran, which we also spoke on, was doing backdoor deals with Saudi Arabia, which is Saudi Arabia is also doing backdoor deals with Israel. Even though in the open they say that they don't, but everybody that follows geopolitics know that they do. So Iran is trying to work out a deal with Saudi Arabia, and that will pose a big threat not only to Israel but to the United States, because the United States has something called a petrodollar system. Saudi Arabia makes up close to a fourth of OPEC, these different oil trading nations, and and they have an agreement. All right, they have a covenant, pretty much, that look, we will sell oil to the world in U.S. dollars only. In exchange, there's a military contract, with Saudi Arabia. If that goes away, then you can see the United States you lose trillions in dollars. I mean, it'll be a collapse and a fall of the U.S. dollar. And they wanted this guy Qasem Soleimani out. It wasn't because he was a preemptive strike on the United States' bullshit. They had him on the hit list, and Donald Trump wanted this order out 7 months ago. So they wanted this guy out of there for a minute because the last thing that they want is a unified Middle East, man. Primarily Israel, man. They want to keep them divided. They want to have allies in different regions and have these Arabs fight against themselves. They don't particularly care who's on whose side. Prime example, in the 1980s, the Mossad, all right, the Israel version of the CIA, funded Iran and Iraq, all right, to kill each other, all right, because that's what they want. They want to take over that region, but in doing so, they have to divide it up and have them fight against themselves over whether it be religion or different political things, man. Now, how can this lead right into the RFID microchip? Well, the tensions right now, if hypothetically speaking, if Saudi Arabia was just to cut that petrodollar deal, you can see the collapse of the U.S. dollar overnight. You know what I mean? Because there's like Vladimir Putin said, man, it's like the U.S. is trying to push people away from the dollar because they, all these heavy ass sanctions is forcing people to find means around using the SWIFT. SWIFT is how, these large companies trade with each other in, U.S. dollars right now. Right now, the U.S. dollar is still the strongest world currency, even though it's heavy in debt, but so is all these other currencies heavy in debt. So we can see that, this is my personal belief, that in the lines of scriptures, that they want to collapse the U.S. dollar. You know what I'm saying? They want to collapse it because, everybody's saying the next big thing is either gold or Bitcoin. But, I don't see anybody going back to gold. You can use gold as a reserve, but in terms of buying goods and stuff in exchange for gold, that's long done away with. They're going to go digital, all right? They're going to go digital because the RFID chip is digital. And plus, you see in the pushing of this 5G technology, which is also going to further the chip-based technology, all right? Because that 5G is going to be hooked up on every corner. And 5G is... What 5G does is allow you to have smart cars, smart TVs, smart toilets, smart toothbrush, smart everything to track your kids and all that stuff, man. And that's what that 5G technology does, and it's going to link hand in hand with the RFID microchip, which is going to be able to open your door, your car, turn on your TV, all these different things. And I could see them having different levels of chip. Oh, if you get the upgrade, this one could do this. This one you don't have to buy at anything. You don't have to bring anything to register when you have this upgraded chip. So they're gonna make it very marketable. But for that to happen, a crisis has to happen. That's how they do things. All right, it's auto ab KO. So they have to create this crisis. But 1 Corinthians 2:11, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. So they have to create a crisis to where the dollar collapses. All right, these other currencies already ain't shit, and now they could bring in the solution, and the solution being that RFID microchip. So that's what I was meditating on when I found out the fact that they were talking about the repercussions if Saudi Arabia and Iran did link together, which they are going to link together, man. All right, was that in Habakkuk it tells you that it speaks about those that eat the bread. In the ancient world, when you break bread, it was a form of making a covenant with someone. All right, so you see the United States have all these different treaties, which they're already breaking a lot of them. All right, but they're also going to break even more of them. And the ones that you don't want to break, those that are allied with the United States are going to break them regardless, pursuant to the scripture. All right, they're going to break their deals with the United States and ultimately shoot missiles upon this place, man. Shoot missiles upon this place. And it only makes sense. It only makes sense because as it stands, no single nation, even the nations allied themselves together, such as North Korea, China, and Iran, still wouldn't be enough to wipe out the United States. I mean, they'll get their shit off, but the United States military is just too powerful. Only way I can see the United States going down is if the Mossad intervene and having these nations that are allied with them turn their back on them, primarily NATO and the EU. I was talking to that military guy I was mentioned, and I'm telling him, I'm speaking about the Avant-Garde missile, and he's just looking at me like, bro, only if you knew. And he started going into what's that missile? There's this missile. Well, he's going into the USS Nebraska, and there's a missile. It's a submarine that carries a certain missile. I forgot what it's called, but pretty much going into the fact that, look, man, if they wanted to, they could wipe Russia off the face of the map. You know what I'm saying? They could wipe Russia off the face of the map, and I'm like, huh? Basically, he was saying the advantage that they have is that Russia wouldn't even get a chance to let it off, and I started thinking, I'm like, how could that be done? Well, through NATO. That's how come these different NATO countries that are on the border of Russia, they're not there because America cares so much about making peace. NATO is just an extension of the United States military, because if you have a nation in NATO, then you could set up bases and submarines there. All right, I wish I could remember the name of these missiles. I think you have the Mark 48, but it's another missile, man. Oh, shit, it slipped my mind. It's number 2. It's gonna come back to me, but this missile, it has a hypersonic thermal phase, meaning it shoots out at Mach 25, and it has multiple warheads, and these are all hidden deep in the ocean, or deep in the waters on the borders of Russia through NATO. So for them to for Russia to get their shit off, that has to be cut off some way, somehow. And the way we see it, according to the scripture, is the Allies turning their back on America. But I gotta get to my destination tied up. So that I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bahashim Kakodash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well, and salutations to the hopeful elect out there. You Akim to Sadakim, that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom.